Alright, I do think that the stream is currently up. Let me just check. Yep. Okay, I'm just trying to get another phone to be watching so that I can keep an eye on if anyone joins. It's currently private. That is not what we want. There we go. Alright, it would seem that the stream is now functioning. So, gonna start. Okay, so I've got my second device, and I will try and keep an eye on the chat if anyone is to join. And I will be starting a 10-minute rapid game and explaining what is going on and what I think there. This might take a few seconds. It normally does take a little while to actually get a game, but we'll have to wait and see. Alright. So we do have a game, 2200 from America. I'll start with pawn to e4 and very quick board. Fantastic. That is a great start. And we're very quickly playing. Oh, yeah, there we go. Alright, 2000 from India. Let's go pawn to e4. King's pawn taking space in the center. They opt for the French defense, moving their e-pawn one square forward. The point of this is they want to play pawn to d5 and try to take a little bit of space and fight for the center. I'm going to play, I could play d4 or I could play d3, which would be what I have been dabbling with a little bit. This is known as the King's Indian attack. Idea being that you just want to play a setup which is nice and simple, and you get your pieces out as I'm highlighting. But we're going to play some principled moves, putting two pawns in the center. They're attacking with pawn to c5, and after knight to f3, we're actually going to transpose into an open Sicilian defense, where if they were to take me, which they kind of have to, because otherwise I'll play d5. Equally, I could have played pawn to d5 here, and we would have got a Benoni structure, but I'm keeping my options open, seeing whether or not they are interested in playing. They're sending me an angry face. They are not happy, apparently. They do not want to play the Sicilian Taimanov, and I can understand that. But unfortunately, that is what we're going to play. Main move, knight f6, and then you capture this guy here. They retake, and pawn to e5 can be played. This is how I like to treat this position. And you can take here, absolutely. I think I will take, and probably just opt for bishop d3 and simple castles. If the queen comes out, gives me a check. Easy bishop block, followed by castles. If this pawn ever comes under fire, there's always queen e2 to guard the pawn, and that is good. So bishop c5 comes out, pressuring f2. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to castle. If they castle, the queen can start to come in to either g4 or h5. I'm going to play queen to h5, immediately threatening a little checkmate here. Nasty, nasty business. If they go g6, there's queen h6, bishop comes into g5, bishop f6. There's always king h1, f4, f5 as well. And already I think this position is very unpleasant for black with this passive light squared bishop, which is frankly not going to be involved in their game. My bishop is going to quickly come to f6. If you don't play bishop e7, then you're going to be in hot water. So already here, there is captures en passant, but if captures en passant, we will see probably queen takes, and then I can't get the bishop to f6. So I think I'm just going to play bishop g5. Probably they're going to go bishop e7, trying to cover up, and they don't. Well, I mean, my bishop has made the journey. I guess I can also go h4, h5 and try to capture. A lot of good moves, a lot of good looking moves here. I think also king h1, f4, trying to do a rook lift. I might try and kick their bishop from this diagonal, actually. So then I'm going to go for a3, b4. If they play a5, then you could consider b4 anyway, with like this pawn sacrifice here. Losing the b pawn, but potentially getting my rook down to the a file, and that could be unpleasant with moves like bishop to a6. And if you were to play queen to f7, then maybe bishop f6 could be played. All in all, looks like a pretty unpleasant position. So I'll have to see how they deal with that. Wait, do I not have a chat enabled? I'm not actually sure. Too much lag. Oh, hello. I do actually see a couple of viewers. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about the lag necessarily. But if either of you would like a game after this one, then do let me know. I'm going to play for b4. Kick back their bishop to e7. And I could actually sack my rook. b4 actually was not a great move. Probably just play rook ae1 to guard the pawn. And yeah, I'll maybe queen h4 to kick the bishop out, and it could retreat. We'll have to see something like that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go queen h4, bishop c3 probably. So maybe I will play pawn to b5, and this pawn is now a pass pawn, which means that it could become a fairly strong piece and advance down the board. So let's see. Working on your thought process. Yeah, that is definitely an important thing to do. I mean, in terms of just general thoughts on like every single move, uh, really you just want to be doing like a blunder check. Is this hanging any pieces? And at the same time, you want to try and make progress towards your opponent's position. So as long as you can get deeper into their camp, you can generally be doing quite well. Also, so here for example, the queen trade is threatened, but I don't have to take. I can actually play the move queen to h4, and it looks like the queen and the bishop are teaming up to attack this pawn, but I have a bishop to h6 immediately if you were to capture this pawn. So this is actually a double attack, queen to h4. I attack the bishop and attack the skewer. So that is a pretty dangerous threat that they might have missed. Bishop is now hanging, and they are getting skewered. Absolutely. That is nasty stuff. Okay. I think I might try. Okay, so they are going for this here, but the thing is that they'd have to take with the bishop, because if I were to take on f6 and they were to capture with the rook, which is currently under attack from my bishop, then the bishop on e5 would be hanging. Oh, okay, they just gave me the bishop. Much appreciated. That does make my job a little bit easier. They attack my rook now. Equally, I can play this move bishop g5 in between. You don't always have to respond to your opponent's threats. You can make a threat of equal danger. But bishop g5 just seems like it's overcomplicating business for no reason. So I'm going to just probably hit back with the rook. That seems to make the most sense to me. I'll play the move rook to e2. Not going back all the way, because potentially my rook could be more useful on the c-file like so. So, okay. I'm just trying to get set up right now where I can see the chat more clearly, rather than having to switch tabs all the time, because I can imagine that might not be the best viewing experience for you guys. Okay, so question is that they're trying to play pawn e4 probably. So I could play a move like c4, creating some escape for my bishop. But at the same time, not a huge fan of that, because then their pawns might get rolling down the board, and that can become quite annoying. What I have noticed now is that their d5 pawn has become destabilized, and that could be quite useful. So my rooks might actually want to switch over to the d file, where they can start to put pressure on these pawns. So like if e4 were to come, now I can go bishop to e2, and immediately we have opened up an attack on the d5 pawn. Right? So that is pretty good. All right, pawn c4 seems like a very natural move here. Trying to break up the black position, get my bishop into the game. And if I can centralize this piece here to d5, trade off one of the bishops, I'm going to have this monster dark squared bishop, always putting the king in this nasty checkmating box. Probably just stack the rooks here, seems like the most straightforward. Also, the move bishop g5 might be instant KO for my opponent, because the point is that if the rook moves, then I will just grab this pawn. So that seems very straightforward. The bishop's slicing and dicing, absolutely chopping up the position here, which is definitely quite dangerous for them. So yeah, like rook f8, I'm just going to grab this guy, bishop f6 coming, and that is a checkmate. Okay. So yeah, bishop f6. All right. This is now mate. Well, not mate, but it wins the rook. Also, idea is rook d7. This is resign time. Let's bring in other pieces. I mean, that's a free pawn. Okay, resigns. So, is there anyone who is currently in the chat that would like a game? Please let me know. I'll give it a couple minutes to see if people will be interested, and otherwise I will probably just start another game if people are liking that at the moment. So is anyone interested in a game? I have got another device currently set up so that I can see the chat. Okay. I mean, if no one wants a game, I will just get started on another rapid game. I'll at least have it loading in the background because we all know it can take a few minutes. Okay. Pretty quick. That was, yeah, only a couple of seconds. Already a 1954 with the international flag. We get e4, e5. Probably going to opt for like bishop c4, bishop's opening. Have been learning some knight f3 stuff recently. But bishop c4 I think is a really great line and really underutilized at the lower levels. People often think, oh, you're just going for some scholars mate rubbish, it's like classic. Let's get in on f7. But that's really not what it's all about. This system is definitely legit. And the point is that you actually want to reserve this move, pawn to f4. So we get something like this. So you play like knight c3, pawn f4, and you get this nice position here with a quick kingside attack and open f-file for your rook to play on. If the bishop comes out to b4, there's always knight e2, protecting the knight so we don't have to mess up the pawn structure. And there's definitely a lot of nuances to this opening that people are not so familiar with at the somewhat lower levels. This isn't like a particularly ambitious approach for black, just bringing out the two knights. Oftentimes you'll see the bishop come out and f4 gets played, and you might see moves like d6, also knight g4, followed after d6. I do see it a lot, and it's not that good. You actually transpose into another opening in the king's gambit, and you can play for this really trappy system, which is definitely more interesting. But recently I've realized it's actually not that good, but I have had some nice wins in it, for sure. And the point here, okay, so knight f3, bishop g4 is very common, and okay, so they castle instead. So on castles, I'm always playing knight to a4 because we want to castle, but the point is they have a dark squared bishop here, preventing short castles. So knight to a4 aims to eliminate this bishop from the board, and once the bishop is eliminated, I can then castle freely, and we can play moves like takes, we can play f5, and really just decide what we want to do with the position. Also important is at some point I want to make my own escape square for the bishop here. With moves like a3, a4, so the bishop can go to a2 if they ever try and harass our bishop. But okay, they just pin us. For now I'm going to snack on this bishop here and eliminate. And maybe I'll play a move like pawn c3, stopping their knight from jumping into the center. That could be quite useful. Alternatively, I could castle, because if they were to jump the knight, I can take this pawn here, and I think that is definitely good enough. Okay, they decide to go for this. I'm going to grab that, and now their knight will have to move somewhere. Our bishop is opened up, and I can always play c3 to try and connect, to try and kick this knight out of this square. And if they ever take, so something like here takes. So I'm looking at, say, knight d7, c3, knight takes, bishop moves. Can't quite play f4, but if I can play bishop to f4, this pawn is guarded, and moves like queen e1, queen g3. Definitely a nice, flexible attacking position. That is a big blunder, because now they're going to have two pieces hanging, this knight and this bishop. So unfortunately, this is just a losing game. Bishop h3 counterattacks my rook, but I will simply grab your horse, and after the trade, I've got two pieces for the rook, which is more than winning. I'll just play moves like a4, get my bishop a square, f4, queen g2, bishop e3, and I will shortly win. Also, I can take on g7 as an in-between move, because I attack your rook with my pawn, and that also looks very nice. So yeah, obviously bishop takes. I can take on g7, and then I will take the bishop after that. So something like takes. Don't really know. Maybe rook g7. There's like this f7 pawn hanging. So really not a great position for my opponent. I'm just going to play simple developing moves, bring the pieces over, and the bishop pair is far too strong for the singular rook. Just keeping in mind, by the way, if you do want to play a game, please do leave a comment in the chat with your chess.com username, and I will get a game with you after this 10-minute rapid game is up. Probably only going to play a couple more games after this if there is no one that would like to play. Okay, interesting move here. I guess they want to try and checkmate me or something. That would be very typical, but don't I just have rook f2? Like, rook f2 seems simple. On queen g3, I just move the king and there's nothing, right? So rook f2, getting out of the way of any checkmates and saving me a rook. Much thanks, my guy. Yeah, now I just don't even have to bother with having two bishops for the rook. I'm just up a piece. Just have an extra dark square bishop over here. Very nice. Checks. I'll move over. Queen comes to g1, g3. Bishop comes out. Rook comes out. The g file is suddenly a big counterattack. All right. Give me a check. King to h1. Queen can come in. Queen goes to g3. And that should do. So yeah, I'm going to play bishop e3, bring the queen, bring the rook. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to fix the lag exactly. I will take a look at it. For sure. Kind of just waiting for our opponent to make a move here. 2 concurrent viewers and one of them is me. That's pretty good. Okay. Quick resigns. Right, if the one guy in the chat would like a game, now is your chance. Give you some time. Otherwise, I'll probably just have one more game, rapid, before calling it a day. All right. The surf would like a game. Fair enough. What is your username so that I can send you a challenge, or if you would like to send a challenge as well? Preferably it would be unrated, but you know, you just sent a challenge. Okay. I will try and yeah, I mean the stream is good, thank you. Alright, wait. I might have to adjust my rating range. Would you mind sending your username? Because it might just be easier if I... Actually, if you said you've muted the stream now, that might not be very good. But, okay. I'm going to try and fix my settings. Where is it? My outgoing, there we go. Oh, okay, yeah, I think you might have sent me a friend request already. Yeah, I see you. Okay, what kind of time control would you like to play? 10 minute? Okay, well I've sent a challenge. Says your challenge does not match the member's settings. I don't know if you might have a cap on the rating that you can accept challenges for. You need to have it going up to any rating in your incoming. So if you go to settings, if you okay, there you go. You sent me one. There we go. All right. The game has begun. Okay, I'm gonna go for pawn to e4, as I often have in these games. And we are waiting. We see a Sicilian. All right, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit this time. Gonna play a closed Sicilian defense. Let's not necessarily get into the weeds of the open Sicilian. They go for pawn e6. I'm actually gonna play f4, bit of a Grand Prix style, and knight f3 and d4 might be played. Alternatively, if they play for d5 themselves, then I can play bishop to b5, which gives a check. And the point is that after I get my bishop out of the chain, I will play the move pawn to d3. All right, they have brought their knight out. I'm going to develop my knight. And if they, once again, d5, bishop to b5 will be played. They're probably going to have to move this d pawn at some point. So we'll see what they get up to. On knight to f6, I can kick this guy back. Knight e7 could get a little bit clunky. If you want to play g6 and develop, that could be difficult. And yeah, okay. d4 is a move, I believe. But d4, the problem with b6 now is that d4 is not as good as it used to be, because they would have bishop to c5, and that would actually, but bishop c5, I have queen g7. But I still don't think it's that good, not really in the spirit of this opening. I'm probably going to go for bishop to b5, and look to eliminate this knight here. Let's say they jump into the center, play a move like pawn d3, and something like a4, and we will just play that. Okay, let's go for simple castle. Moves like d3, f5. This is all classic Grand Prix attack stuff. I don't know exactly how it is against this system. Okay, kind of have to take here. Question is, do you play d3 or d4? I think I'm probably going to opt for pawn to d3, closing off this pawn chain against this light squared bishop here. If you go for d4, I'll have to consider whether or not I want to take or push, or potentially just ignore play like queen e1, because then if you were to take, then my queen is already active on this square. I'm thinking about moves like f5, but probably just the natural queen e1 in terms of Grand Prix plans, trying to get queen g3. If the knight were to come out, you can play moves like e5, and I'm not exactly sure if I would play e5. Probably just play something flexible like queen g3 maybe, or f5 I could go for, absolutely. Okay, so maybe knight e5 as well, could be a move. Hit the bishop, get bishop to b7, and then queen g3. And my point is that if you play d6, maybe I'll have knight g4. Okay. I think I'm going to go for knight to e5. Also, I could play g4, d6, g5. Nah, that looks a bit crazy. That's probably not a good idea. Yeah, so they should go bishop b7 for sure. If you're not playing bishop to b7 and preserving the bishop pair, then there wasn't really any point in this setup. Now I'm going to play moves like queen to g3, bring the knight back, or f5. I could go for f5, something crazy. I think that's a small mistake. You have just given me the bish, and if you want to be stopping e5, you kind of have to take this way so that you can meet, but then even knight e4. So I don't know. I think queen c7 is a small mistake. You should try and value the bishop pair, because that is your plus in the position. Like I'm slightly ahead in development and have a bit more space on the king side, but you had the bishop pair, so definitely should have tried to play with that a little bit more before giving it to me. Okay, I'm thinking f5, try and crack open the position. I like it. f5, my idea being that I want to play moves like e5, f6 maybe, and also I now have free development for my bishop fully along the diagonal, rather than before where it was a little bit hindered. So we'll have to wait and see. c4 maybe? No, c4 doesn't make sense. I can just push. Because castles would be a huge mistake. Because then I have got e5, f6 instantly, and the king side would get shattered. So something like castles, e5 here takes, queen takes f6, takes. You're pretty much getting mated with queen g3 and queen to f7. Unless, and actually there's an important tactic to point out that after castles, e5, knight d5, oops, not there, Knight takes, queen takes, f6 takes, bishop takes, rook takes, queen d4. Wouldn't have actually won my rook, because I would have queen f2 guarding the rook at the same time. But okay, none of that happens. I think b4 is not a bad move. Basically, White's saying, I don't really want to commit to anything just yet, which is definitely respectable. Can I take, and then push? There's also like push knight d5, queen d5, queen e4, sorry. And potentially this position could be quite good. Yeah, I like the look of this actually. E5, knight d5, queen e4, if knight c3, I can take. And in between, if they check me, I just have like king f2. And they don't have any more checks with their knight, so they probably just take back. I'd take here. And I have got a better structure and probably a better endgame there. So that would be not so bad. I might play, yeah, I think I'll go for this. Let's play e5. Equally, I could go f6. I could just take and go f6. Or potentially on knight d5, I could go for knight to e4 and then try and play f6. And on takes, I could take bishop d8. Not super sure. But alright. I mean, it's up to them to make the move. I feel like it's quite clear. Okay, yeah. Sure, yeah, I can play a game as well. I just see that someone else is offering a challenge. If you just send me your username, that'll probably make things easiest. Just leave it in the chat. Okay. Queen e4. Yeah, like I said, knight c3. Queen takes. If you take, I will take back. And I will have moves like pawn to a4, which should leave white a little bit better. Okay, got it. So yeah, I'll just double check this one here, here, knight e2, king f2. You have to address the queen because otherwise your rook is hanging. And when the knight is on e2, it has no more checks against my king, so you'd have to do something like takes, and then I would take. So I think queen d5 is a fairly solid move. Equally, if things would have gone horribly wrong, I could just go for this big center position, but I don't think that's that good. All right. So I'd be expecting something with knight c3. If you don't go knight c3, then I can take you. Okay. So yeah, we're not going to see knight e2. And now the point is that I've got f6. I can take on e6. And if you take me, then my rook will take. If you don't take me, then I will take you. And you will have this kind of unpleasant e-pawn. It's kind of messed up structure over here. So we're going to see takes, which definitely makes sense. And castles. Sure. Probably go something like bishop to e3. Also a4. If I get a rook on e4, that'd be good as well. But let's go for a4. Trying to break the position up. My bishop now has this a3 development square as well. And from a3, I could be threatening moves like pawn to d4, which could definitely get very dangerous. I'll also take a quick analysis of this game after I'm done with it. Okay. So bishop a3 makes sense to me. Trying to get pawn to d4. And also, I can now bring my other rook to the f file and try to do some damage on this f pawn, given that you've just moved away. Okay, this move, I feel like it could be another small mistake, because now the problem is this structure is kind of messed up. So after I drop back my bishop to b2, I can play a move like pawn c4, and you are not really getting out. Hello, Luca, my man. Yeah, we can have a game after I'm done with the next guy, for sure. So yeah, c4 now, and as you can see, this black structure is a little bit unpleasant here. And I'm going to be bringing my rook in, really just applying some nasty little pressure against your position. So yeah, rooks will stack up. I will attack this pawn. E6 can also come at any moment, and this bishop will come to life. So I can always sacrifice this e5 pawn here. Isn't b3 unpleasant? Not really, because for now, while they're not threatening to go, so like after c4, if they were to go pawn b3, I could, for one, I can push. Actually, no, I can't push. Wait, b3 is b3 unpleasant? b3, yeah, maybe I would have to like bring my rook back actually. Yeah, b3 a little bit unpleasant actually. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, so like b3, if then they take on c2, I'd have to go rook c1. But it's not the end of the world. I would win back the pawn. They would still have the worst structure. I can regroup with the bishop going to c3. But anyway, they go and move their rook back here because they're clearly concerned about that. And yeah, probably I was thinking I would just bring this guy out here and try to push the pawn. That seems pretty logical. So yeah, I'm going to bring my rook down, get this pawn through. Probably rook b8 and b3. I do agree. b3 would have been a good try probably. But okay, they are kind of letting me just do whatever I want, which I do like. Gonna play e6. Got to get something going. If they take, which they kind of have to, because if you play f6, you're just, I mean, you could. You are kind of just curling up in a ball. But, you know, there are worse strategies. Maybe bishop would have to get back to e3 or something. I mean, takes, I will take your rook. And then after your rook takes, I would take here and try to go after these pawns. All these scattered pawns here that are definitely not the best. Instant attack on the bishop. Probably might go to g5 or something. And on bishop g5, I guess I'll go pawn g3. Just so that I can sidestep any of this stuff that could happen. Okay, this move also makes a little bit of sense. The question is the king and pawn endgame winning. Takes, rook takes. I don't have to transition fully into the endgame, by the way. Rook e5, I mean, actually, it may as well take, because rook e5 is also a very strong move here. It would just start hoovering up all the pawns. But you may as well check, is the king and pawn endgame a win? So let's just have a quick look. Takes here, king f2, king f7, king e3, king here, here. It just seems very unnecessary. Let's keep the rooks on for the time being. Start collecting some of these pawns. What's good about my position is that currently these are the only two open lanes. My rook operates one of them, and the king is guarding these squares with the pawn guarding this square, so he doesn't have any clear entries. If your rook wants to come over, I will play king to f2, and I will try to prevent the entries here like this. If you check me, I can just move my king over here. If you check me again, king goes to d2. So okay, they're going after this pawn. I believe this pawn to be pretty much irrelevant, to be honest. I can just ignore it, I think. Like, if you take this pawn, your rook is getting very far away from the action over here on the queen side. And something like rook takes, I can give a check, for example. I can do a whole load of things. But at the same time, h3 is sort of like a why not move. You know. But I don't really care. It's just an h pawn. It's not like this pawn's actually going to go anywhere. And I'm probably just going to go back to c5, try and induce the move rook h6, and then I'm going to get this pawn motoring down and use your c6 pawn to actually try and block the position, which is a pretty nasty idea. And now my point is that that's another pawn. Okay. And if they get behind it, then I'll just give a check and play a7, and your rook is in jail. So check on a7. The rook is forever trapped, and all I got to do is start pushing these other pawns here. Yeah, push them, baby. So true. If you want to give me that pawn, then I will accept. Yep. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty well played game by Mr. Macronomics. I love that username. And yeah, I'm just gonna bring around my king, get the last pawn. If you want to make that trade, then be my guest. And now, as Lucas so wisely said in the chat, push 'em, baby. And so we will. Good game. Let's take a quick look at the analysis. Yeah, well played to Macronomics. 90 accuracy versus 83. It was pretty equal most of the game until some slip-ups. Apparently, yeah, d4 is the way to go, but played it in like a slightly inaccurate way. But yeah, definitely giving up the bishop, I would say, is a big point. You should try and keep the bishop. Yeah, well played, Surf. And f5, yeah, e5, queen e4, no good, apparently. I should be going for queen g3 to go after your pawns. But, I mean, the big takeaways, I think, from this game, it was largely well played in the opening. I would just say, keep the bishop. Don't give me the bishop. Like, if you don't have to give me the bishop, don't give me the bishop. I know that it's a nice knight in the center, but you should still be keeping that bishop. Also, yeah, I was gonna say maybe I would have considered long castles. Your king can't really stay in the center forever. That knight is gonna get kicked around at some point. Also, I don't know if you'd considered knight e2, but it might have been a decent move to throw in. And this position as well, you don't actually have to. I mean, you can castle. But largely, I think the problem is it's just a little bit unpleasant. And yeah, the engine's saying rook e8, and I agree with this. The point being that you want to play like rook e8, bishop f8, and you can always defend your f7 pawn with the rook if it comes to it. But most importantly, you want to try and blockade this e pawn and try and fight back against it. But yeah, after this, I do think I agree with the guy in chat, Chimememe, who was saying b3 is a good try. I do agree. I actually think that yeah, maybe I would have had to go for this position and something like rook f3. Something like rook takes here, and I guess bishop c3 hits the pawn, defends the d2 square. b3 rook ff1. I don't think this would have been that good, because can't you just take this? This, like, it looks scary, but let's say you could always go bishop f8. I mean, yeah, the engine is saying that you can just go after this rook. I mean, this bishop here, and then try and get the rook to the b1 square, which definitely looks nasty. And I'm noticing here maybe there's e6. So there would definitely would have been a much more wild position if b3 was played. But instead, we get this pretty straightforward looking endgame, and this exchange was definitely not ideal because then I can simply start taking these pawns. And really, I don't have much advice for how to hold this. This is very unpleasant with this pawn structure. So yeah, that's pretty much the game, and then there's not a whole lot to do from here. So like I said, good game, well played. I'll be moving on to the next guy. You said your username is Raparton. All right, I will try and find you. Let's go to the members. Okay, wait. Have you spelled that right? Because I'm trying to. Oh, Raparn. No, Reptar. Ah. Okay, got you. Reptom challenge 10-minute game. Okay, I have sent you out a challenge. If you are able to accept it, then please do. I don't know what time control would you like? We can do 3-minute blitz, any kind of blitz. The longest game I want to play would be 10-minute. Okay, so we're getting e4. I don't know why I keep getting white. I think I'm picking random colors. Yes, no problem, no problem. It was a good game. Yeah. So this time, okay, we get another Sicilian. A lot of my people liking the Sicilian defense. I love that. I don't know. You know what? Let's play knight f3. Let's play an open Sicilian. Mix it up a little bit. I'm not that good with the open Sicilian, to be honest. But against e6, gonna take. Taimanov, let's play knight c3. Okay, and now my knowledge has run out, so that's pretty good. Okay. I don't know if I'm meant to take this, probably. I think I'm meant to take, and then play like bishop d3 and short castles. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's just do this pretty quick. I got moves like f4, e5. They're probably along the right lines. So let's see. Okay, I'm thinking f4. Let's try and bust this open. I think this is pretty normal from my opponents so far. Let's play e5. The knight goes to d5. I can either go knight e4, maybe. I can also go queen h5, no, queen h5, g6 probably. I can also just trade and have a slightly better, marginally better position, which is definitely tempting. I do love a marginal position. Also, the move knight e4 and c4 comes to mind, but the problem with knight e4 might be that they go knight to b4, and knight b4, I don't want to lose my bishop here, so that would be a little bit annoying. Absolutely. I mean, knight b4, bishop e2 though. Maybe. I could go a3 as well, preempting this whole idea. I do like the look of a3 actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to play pawn to a3, knight e4, and try and play c4. And we'll have to wait and see what they come up with. Maybe some combination of bishop c5, queen b6. But the issue with that is that if you play those two moves too quickly, boom, knight to a4, and things could get a little bit sketchy. Okay. So what else? What else? I mean, maybe black has to break for d6. Yeah, I was going to say. I'd consider takes here, here. And if you want to play bishop takes, then there might be queen g4. Some combo of takes, knight takes, and queen g4. Looking for knight f6. That looks pretty dirty. So something like knight e4, bishop takes, knight takes, queen g4. I'm hitting your queen. I mean, I'm hitting your knight. If your knight moves to g6, I guess knight g6 is fine. So maybe I just play queen g4 right away. But queen g4 maybe e5. Okay. So let's go back to this idea. Here, if knight takes, then it's probably bishop takes, queen h5. I mean, I think this is probably not that bad. I don't know. I'm sacrificing a pawn. How about you? So let's continue to think after having just made the move. Bishop takes, takes. I don't think this is that good, to be honest. This probably wasn't that smart. Okay, bishop takes. Yeah. Okay, bishop takes is what I thought actually. Can I go queen g4 right away, or queen h5? Maybe. Also, there's c4, which is interesting because c4 you have to play bishop c1. Yeah, because if c4 bishop to e3 king h1. And if c4 bishop takes h2 king h1, I'm threatening queen h5 with knight f6, which would have a double threat on the bishop and also the king with h7. So c4 on knight e3, also queen h5. It looks spicy. It does look spicy. Okay, let's just look at c4. The only other move is bishop c1. And then I can just take. Knight has to move, let's say here. The only problem I'm seeing is after something like queen here, knight g6, h4. It's queen h5. A lot of interesting moves here. Queen h5 threatens this checkmate. But after sacking the rook for the knight first. So queen h5, g6 is the only problem, which doesn't look very good. I'm gonna play c4. Probably they got to take on c1. And then go knight e7. Also, I am noticing now that on taking on c1, rook takes, knight e7, queen h5, knight g6, I have knight g5, Threatening mate here. Only way to stop that is something like h6, in which case I can take here, takes, play like rook takes, king takes, check, king goes back or something. Okay, so they go for this, but I was thinking I can go for queen h5 here. Queen h5, g6, check, king up, check, takes, and then I can take, because there's a pin on your bishop to your king on f6, I think. Let's go for it. f5. I actually didn't think that much about that move. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bad things are possibly about to start happening. Sack the rook. Ooh. Is there knight trap maybe? Okay, maybe I'll have to go rook f3. Rook f3 takes rook h3. No, this was a bit speculative. And I have been punished. Absolutely. Okay. Here, queen takes, knight g5, h6, g3. And no, it's queen e5. Oh no! Queen d4, I mean. Okay, I think I'm just lost. Yeah, I don't love speculation. Unless it's on the markets. Yikes. Okay, I think I'm gonna play rook f3. No, rook f3 is just terrible though. Okay, whatever. Rook f3, you have my knight. It's always good to have 1 minute and 27 seconds when you're playing. I probably should have played something where I actually know what I'm doing against this guy. Looks like he's quite good. Okay, g6, I guess. I can enter a rook down endgame. How's that? Can sack another bishop, trade queens, and then grab this guy. That is the exhale of an unhappy person. Queen h4. Maybe queen c5. Oh, queen c5, bishop d6. Oh no, then I have queen. Okay, whatever. Don't end your calculation with queen. Okay, whatever. Actually, no, there's h2's hanging. Uh-oh. I've said uh-oh a lot, and that is because I am uh-ohing. Okay, the time has come where I have to move, whether or not it's any good. I think g5 is actually a great move here. g5 is nasty business. Because then I kind of just have to like take, give him that, and then take here or something and play this bad position. Yeah. Um. Maybe I could have gone to c5. Just no. See, that's no good. That's no good. We just trade rooks. Okay, we are going to have to start activating the swindle procedure. It does seem like it's the only way forward. g5, great move. Okay, queen h6, g4, rook takes. Nah, I'm cooked. It's over. It is over. Okay. Yeah, g4. Look at that g pawn. That's crazy. g6, g5, g4. What a hero. I guess g4 I'll play rook e3. Main issue is probably that I've got 12 seconds against 4 minutes. So there'll be no more thinking for this game. I've used up all of my think tokens. Oh, of course. That move too. Oh well. And looks like I'm going to lose on time, so I'm gonna throw in the towel with 0.1 seconds. Good game, Reptom. That was I kind of just got smoked, to be honest. I did have a little smoking. Yeah, they played very well. 94.3. I played a little bit sketchy, 82. But let's see. I mean, main problem. I was just I didn't really know what I was. I should have gone 94 to try and stop this d6 move. d6 was a good breakout for sure, and this sacrifice was definitely uncalled for, and c4 also uncalled for. Apparently, I have the move knight f6, which is just typical engine behavior. I don't really understand on g takes. Queen g4, king moves, and then bishop takes, and then it wants me to play a bad endgame. Yeah, to be honest, that would have been better than what I got. F5. I actually just forgot about f5, to be honest. If there wasn't f5, apparently white wins, but you know, can't really play like that. Yeah, and other than that, like g6 and then g5 was really nice, and having like the lateral defense from the queen. I don't really have that much to say. Yeah, this was a great game. You definitely got me there. We'll have to play again sometime. Finally, Luca, do you want a game? Can play a 10-minute, 5-minute. Doesn't really matter. All right. I have Luca, UK, born and bred. Let's go E4 again. D5, Scandi. Okay, let's capture that guy. Queen comes out, knight C3, hit the queen. Queen goes to A5. I'm gonna play B4. Let's play the Leonhard Gambit. Little tricky line here. The point is that after you take, there is rook b1, which is the main way to play this. But at the same time, there is this tricky variation with knight to b5. And that's what I'm going to go for. Because the main idea is that after queen a5, you can go for bishop c4. And queen a5 is the best move. But a6, unfortunately, the knight is popping in to the position with a fork. So I think the Scandinavian's quite hard to play as far as games go. Okay, let's try and develop the knight. So he's going to try and recover from losing the rook. And probably something like knight c6, just try and develop out there. I just want to get my bishop out, probably castle, and then try and break open the center with these two pawns here. If I can liberate the position, things will be a lot easier. Okay, I might also play pawn a4, bishop a6, but I think bishop to e2 is definitely a practical move. Just trying to get the king castled, play my pawns out to d4, c4, and break with d5. Castles. d4, c4, d5. Yeah, I don't know why my camera's lagging so much, or even just this recording in general. Probably have to fix that. Hope the audio is not so bad. Yeah, so d4. Actually, no, not d4. d4, knight c3. Let's go c4 probably. c4, knight here. Then d4, knight e2, queen takes e2. So let's try and kick the horse to beat that pony around and try to crack the center. Alright, d4. Knight takes e2, I will capture with the queen. D5's coming. Let's play d5. Try and break things open. Okay, so after queen takes, there's now bishop to b2, which is a skewer. And on queen takes d5, you don't actually take the rook, you will check here and take the queen. That's a little bit cruel. Sorry about that. But, you know, yeah, oh no, sorry. Sometimes you gotta get a little nasty. And I'm gonna actually play rook c1. And the point is that rook d1 is coming, and I don't think it can really be stopped here. Maybe bishop can go out to c5, but bishop c5, yeah, I guess bishop c5 and the king will escape actually. But now rook d1, rook d3, And that is a GG. Now, unless anyone wants some last minute games, I'll probably be ending the stream after a quick review. It was 90 accuracy versus 70. The game apparently it calls this a mistake. How dare they? How dare the chess.com game review call b4 a mistake? b4 is an enlightened move. Okay, b4 is actually just not even a bad move. I don't understand. Like, it's theory. How can it say yeah, it is a nasty gambit. No, yeah, knight b5 is not the main move. In fact, it's just not a very good move. You're meant to go for rook b1 after, and then you just kind of develop, and you say that black's going to have a hard time getting the light square bishop out because of the b7 pawn. And so yeah, a6 does run into this fork. And other than that, it was just quite difficult to consolidate and play when the king is in the center. Engine not even respecting the knight fork. Typical behavior. Instead, it wants me to just move a rook, of course, and checkmate. So if you guys did enjoy this stream, do consider liking and subscribing. And alternatively, I'm also going to try and get it running a little bit smoother for next time. I'll do some experimenting and see how it goes. But yeah,